Okay, this video is going to be in the Canvas LMS. We're going to talk about some additional features within Canvas to improve instruction. So the first one I want to start with is adding rubrics to your assignments. So I'm logged in as a teacher, clicked on courses, browsed to my course called Welcome to Canvas, and then on the left-hand side, as I scroll down the menu for this course, I click on Rubrics. This course already has several rubrics inside, so I'm just going to use this last one called U.S. History Research Paper. So I click on this rubric and brings up the 7 criteria that we've created to be in this course. So very easy to create this. It's basically creating a table where we can edit all of these columns and rows. And so very simply, I've just, I will hit edit this rubric to show you how this works, but each cell is editable, or you can delete it and start over. But simply making criteria, assigning points with a description, very, very good feature to give your kids and let them see the rubric for their assignment so they know how you are grading them for their assignment. So once I am done editing this rubric, I can update it. I will hit cancel for this example, and the changes take place. The students see those instantly. So that's rubrics. To create a rubric, let me back up. If I click on rubrics one more time, at the very home screen of rubrics is an add rubric link if I wanted to create a brand new rubric. The second item that I want to show you is about grading and the ability to export your. So while the Canvas LMS has a very robust grading module within it, there's always the need to pull those grades out. So super easy task. So on the left-hand menu again, I click on grades, and there are not a lot of grades for the assignments that are in here, but the theory still works. This usually would be full of assignments and grades and all of your students, but the place to do that is up here. These 3 drop-down menus have a lot of options for you in the grade book and the view, but in the actions is simply an export feature where it exports to a spreadsheet. You can then manipulate that spreadsheet and then have the ability to upload the grades into Skyward so they're available for the students at in that regard. Okay, the third feature I'd like to show is the installation of third-party apps into the Canvas LMS. So if I go back home to this course, as a teacher, still logged in with editability, you can tell by the buttons on the right-hand side and the invisible icon here next to some of these sections. At the very bottom, again, we're going to go into the settings of this particular course. And we've talked about a few things in this menu across the top, but I want to talk about apps. In the apps tab, there are external apps or plugins that allow you to add into your courses, individual courses, or all the courses within your organization. And so you'll see on the left-hand side, I have an Office 365, Google Drive, Zoom. We've added some apps into Canvas to allow our students to participate in the course and use the tools that they're used to. So while the school district might be using Canvas as an LMS, you might have documents in other cloud storage areas like Dropbox or in Microsoft or Google that you want to integrate into your class. So it just makes it super easy for the students to input their work. To install these, you're probably going to have to work with your IT team, but you can search for the apps or you can browse through all apps, not installed apps or the installed, and see what your LMS has. But a lot of cool tools that will help you to engage with your students a lot better. Last feature I'd like to explain in this video is the ability to close a course and copy a course. I'm going to hit our home button again just to take us back to the beginning. On the far right, you can see you've got a couple buttons that deal with what I just described. So you can import a course that you already have or that someone has shared with you. And that obviously saves a lot of time as you're importing all the content, which is the modules, assignments, and quizzes. But the question comes up of how do I end this course? So back on the left-hand side, if we go down, click on Settings for this course. On the far right, our options change, and you can see you can delete a course, which I do not recommend, or you can conclude the course, which turns the course off. In essence, it would make it so the students can no longer interact with the course and turn in assignments. It is still in a read-only mode, so you can still see the course. The other cool feature is the ability to reset a course. So probably the steps are to copy the course and then reset the course. So what that does is it keeps all of the student enrollments, but it cleans out all of the work that's turned in, any assignments or attachments that the students have put in, and basically gives you a blank course with the students inside the same shell that you had before.